Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, the University of the Bahamas set to be free for Bahamians with a 2.0 GPA come July 1st. The opposition hits back at the Prime Minister over his budget contribution. Alive launches Glitch TV, plus a look at the world's largest swim lesson.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. As of July 1st, all Bahamian students, new and current, who meet the minimum GPA of 2.0 will be eligible to attend the University of the Bahamas free of charge. Finance Minister Peter Turnquest today explaining that the government made this move to make tertiary education attainable for all.
UB has done an analysis of all their average full-time student and considering intake, and they calculated what that would mean in terms of tuition. And the number, if memory serves me, runs about 19 million, and we've provided for that.
The finance minister projecting it will cost the government $19 million a year to foot the bill of Bahamian students attending the University of the Bahamas who meet the required GPA of 2.0. The grant will cover tuition, course fees, and even accommodation of up to $500 per month for students from the Family Islands. It's a part of the Minister administration's plan to make a college education free for all.
So we fully believe that that is funded and that will be sustainable for the long term. Again, the overall objective here is to ensure that tertiary education is accessible by everybody. When
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis first raised the idea of making UB free for Bahamians, the opposition questioned what would make it different from the current initiative where students have to maintain a 3.0 GPA for free tuition. Turnquest explains that the difference is in the GPA, with the minimum requirement now only 2.0.
We need talented people, and we need them from a wide and diverse spectrum of our society, because together, working all together and understanding and appreciating and sharing in those different cultural backgrounds and experiences, we get the best of our people. So, you know, this is an investment not only in terms of trying to build a capacity, but it's also an investment in us as a society and as a community.
In a statement, UB said the entrance requirement for the University of the Bahamas did not change and remains 5 BGCSEs. It said the change is similar to the current bursary. The only difference is in order to receive the grant, you must keep the GPA of 2.0 and have 12 credits. Those students currently on the government's bursary with a 3.0 or over must now reapply to receive this grant. The announcement has since gotten mixed reactions. Some people applauded this move while others asserted government is lowering the bar. Here's how Turnquest responded to that.
We're not in the business of trying to hold back or shortchange anybody or to discourage them from achieving their full potential. And so this is an investment in the young people of this country, and in fact an investment in the future of this country.
In other news, the Prime Minister's assertion that the PLP awarded $200 million of untendered contracts worth only $3.5 million is ridiculous, according to opposition leader Philip Davis.
The suggestion that $200 million worth of untendered contracts were awarded when it was worth only $3.5 million is ridiculous. Yes, there were untendered contracts, just as there are now untendered contracts being granted by this government. But there's nothing wrong, inherently wrong, with that process once the Bahamian people and the government is getting value for money.
Anglican MP Glenys Hannah Martin challenged Minnis yesterday to provide proof to support his claim. However, Minnis did not go into detail about any of the contracts. Davis says that doesn't surprise him.
Despite this characterization of untendered contract, have they yet to draw attention to any one of these contracts that they say was not value for money? Again, it is their signature modus operandi, propaganda, spinning, telling tales.
As for Minnis' claim that it was raining contracts, Davis says the former government helped to put Bahamians to work, and maybe the Minnis administration should do the same.
Right, and if it is, he's using that metaphor to indicate that what we were doing was ensuring that the Bahamian people, we were putting funds in the pockets and uplifting the lives of the Bahamian people, well, I accept that compliment. And perhaps he ought to start doing the very same thing, paying more attention to the comfort and the well-being and happiness of our people, particularly the ordinary people.
Well, PLP senators also hit back at ministers today during a news conference in the Senate. Giorgio Bain has that.
Following Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minister's budget communication in the House of Assembly on Wednesday evening, the opposition released a statement stating that there were several inconsistencies surrounding allegations of untendered contracts under the former Christie administration.
Or the F&M would really have us believe that the public administration in this country simply has the Treasury sitting there and people just go in and grab money as they feel like doing so. The systems which are in place would not allow such a thing to happen. It is ridiculous on the face of it. It is as ridiculous as the Minister of Finance saying that $42 million was missing.
He was responding to ministers who told Parliament yesterday that $200 million in untendered contracts were given out like Halloween candy under Philip Davis, who served as Minister of Works. Mitchell also defended former Prime Minister the late Sir Lyndon Pinling and questioned ministers' decision to divulge private conversations he had with Governor General Dame Marguerite Pinling, who will demit office next week.
According to the conventions of our Constitution, a Governor General does not have personal opinions or personal feelings. But here he gets up in the House of Assembly yesterday and disclosing that the Governor General said this and the Governor General said that and what the Governor General felt. I mean, this is just totally inappropriate. And this is a man who's the Prime Minister of our country and is supposed to be the person who is at the head of our system. And then hard on the heels of it, he goes and attacks the lady's husband, late husband, in the most vicious terms and savage terms. I mean, this is completely inappropriate behavior.
Meanwhile, Shadow Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville denied claims made about the construction of the Children's Ward.
The truth of the matter is the contract for the Children's Ward was awarded on October 2016 to Guaranteed Construction Company for exterior works, which included the roof and window replacement at a cost of $379,478, and the exterior work was completed in July 2017.
According to Darville, the government has done nothing.
The record should reflect the truth. The repairs of the Children's Ward had nothing to do with Carnival. And the debacle, however, has everything to do with neglect by the Free National Movement and the Minister of Health failure to do his job.
Reporting for our news, I'm Giorgio Bain.
The total cost of forensic audits ordered by the Minister administration is over $500,000, according to Finance Minister Peter Turnquist, who said several of those audits have already been completed and one is in the stage of reporting.
The cost of all external audits that the Auditor General has done, which would be these forensic audits as well as some of the other audits that they would have contracted out, was about $519,000, I believe it is. So that's a combination of quote-unquote forensic audits as well as regular audits that the Auditor General would have contracted to third parties because of limited resources internally or because of specialized nature or whatever.
So far, the findings of a forensic audit into the Water and Sewage Corporation as well as the National Sports Authority have been released. When the F&M took office in 2017, Prime Minister Minnis ordered the audits and said members of his cabinet would order further audits of their respective ministries. Turnquist said the results will be made public.
A lot of times the issues that are being looked at may be sensitive, they may be connected to other things, and so we just want to be careful about how we go about releasing this information, because again, even in terms of people that may be involved, you just don't want to be reckless with these kind of matters.
Well, Turnquist is also defending government's decision to maintain a cap on property taxes. The cap means that wealthy homeowners who would otherwise have tax bills in the millions would only pay $60,000. Well, the finance minister justified the move, insisting wealthy investors and homeowners can take their money elsewhere. Jared Higgs reports.
It is not as simple as saying, oh, let's tax the rich. There are real consequences for the people that we're trying to protect, i.e., or I should say that Engliston is trying to protect, the poor and the marginalized.
Turnquest was responding to Engliston MP Glenys Hannah Martin, who questioned why government didn't place a higher cap on the amount of real property taxes it is able to collect from homeowners in affluent communities such as Lifer Key. Hannah Martin argued that it is only fair for wealthy second homeowners to pay taxes the same way Bahamians have to. However, Turnquest contended that the potential tax liability, often in the millions of dollars, could have the effect of driving second homeowners to build elsewhere.
You have some properties, Mr. Speaker, some houses where the value of that home, if we remove that $50,000 cap, they now could be paying millions of dollars in property tax. Again, for those persons who come here on a seasonal basis, they start to make the value judgment. Is the Bahamas the best place for me to go to invest?
Last year, the Ministry of Finance reversed its decision to change the definition of owner-occupied properties, which would have increased property taxes on properties not occupied for at least 6 months out of the year, after a letter from the Lifer Key Property Owners Association warned that this change would cause high net worth property owners in the exclusive gated community to sell their properties and leave the Bahamas. Members of the opposition slammed the move, calling it a stark contrast to the treatment of Bahamians who were outraged over a 60% increase in value-added tax last year. The GDP impact of Lifer Key residents is estimated at around $215 million.
Somebody was just telling me today that the Bahamas ranks, I think it's either number 1 or number 2 in foreign direct investment in the region. That is something that we have to protect because, again, this means jobs, this means support of various industries. So we can't take this lightly and just say, you know, let's tax one sector more because they can afford it.
Critics of the less than 5-year-old value-added tax regime say it is a regressive tax that takes a larger percentage of income from low-income earners than from high-income earners. On the other hand, a progressive tax system imposes a higher tax rate on the wealthy when compared to the poor. Turnquest says the impact of increasing taxes on the rich would negatively impact poorer Bahamians.
We do not have a progressive tax system in this country at this point. And any move towards a progressive tax system is going to require tremendous consultation, significant detailed analysis. And
the government has long been accused by the opposition and some of its own of taxing the poor while lobbying for special interests. PLP Deputy Leader Chester Cooper said in Parliament last week that the rich get loopholes while the poor get duty reductions on pens, pencils and crayons. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higg.
All right, thanks, Jared. Still to come, Alive launches its TV product, plus a look at the world's largest swim lesson. Stay tuned.